Good morning to South Korea. Thank you for taking part in this. How has this crisis affected your life?
So before the corona crisis came to Germany, I still am a student of University of Freiburg, and I was studying there and writing my thesis there. But because of the whole corona incident, I had to quickly rush back to Korea. And so that was the biggest change in my life, I guess. Like sudden goodbyes with my friends, and I had to leave my room all of a sudden. So all of my things are still there, and it's just like me. I feel like my part of like me was cut out from Freiburg and then just placed in Korea right now, and big part of it is still back there.
Wow.
And how have things changed for you? So I guess my environment has changed a lot from Freiburg to Seoul. That is a big change. I am spending more time with my family, so I appreciate that. But I also do miss my friends back in Freiburg. But a lot of them have also went back home, like Canada and Japan. And we made a lot of plans on how we're gonna spend our last semester together. Like going to the library every day, writing our thesis, going to the gym, made plans for a summer holiday, but that has all changed. And I guess the most difficult part of all this experience was the uncertainty. Not knowing whether I should go to Korea, whether I should stay in Germany, when I'll be able to be back in Germany, or when this will be over, whether I can finish my thesis in time. So all these unanswered questions would be the most difficult thing for me right now.
Too.
I had my friends who's working in Frankfurt and Berlin experiencing some racial slurs on the streets and in restaurants. Like a friend of mine, when she was eating out with her colleagues, people were yelling coronavirus at her. She also had like a group of teenagers throwing plastic water bottles at her. And this didn't happen before the coronavirus, and she said, she hears it quite often now when she's out on the streets alone. People yelling coronavirus to her. And I guess I was Freiburg, I really like Freiburg, and I think it's a safe city. But I did worry that the same thing's going to happen to me when I heard it happening to my friends. And I guess I was more scared about racism than the virus itself. Because I thought the probability of me catching the virus is quite low. And also, even though I get it, I'm young and healthy, I thought it's not going to be as severe. But I was more worried about facing like racism and going out on the streets alone. And in the beginning, I also wanted to wear a mask to protect myself. But I heard if you're an Asian wearing a mask outside, you're going to draw more attention on yourself. And I thought that could make me an easy target. So I couldn't, even though I had a mask to wear. And even like here right now, I hear the news. It's not only a problem in Germany, but in Australia, in the States, in Canada, about like Asians being assaulted because of the coronavirus.
Is there anything that you want the university or like people who don't experience racism themselves to do about that?
I think just knowing that there are more good people out there is very helpful and supportive. So even though, I don't know, I think a lot of people would know who faced racism before would know that could be, 1 in 1,000. And that doesn't speak for entire Germany, and it's not the majority. But when it first happens to you, it's hard to feel that you're very welcomed in that country, right? Even if it's just one person who would say that.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess just if you ever see somebody being a racist to someone, just speaking up for them, just letting them know I don't know, letting the racist know that it's not okay, or having, I don't know, if you can't do that, then just afterwards, like letting the person who does experience racism, just like, I'm sorry that happened, and I don't know, just letting the person know that not everyone's like that, and that person is welcomed here. I think that could be pretty helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess the important thing is, people just talk about it and try not to ignore it or be silent about it, because silence hurts.
Okay. Yeah, thank you really like a lot for sharing this, because I think
No worries.
we do have to hear this, and we have to like remind ourselves to be aware.
Well,
Yeah.
well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share this experience
Yeah.
and my opinion.
What are your strategies to deal with all this?
Strategies. Initially, when I came back, I tried to, and I was in quarantine, but I still wanted to, have a routine and didn't want to spend all day worrying about whether I have the virus or not. To explain this, I should tell you that when I arrived in Korea, everyone arriving from Europe had to do a 2 weeks mandatory quarantine.
Okay.
And like, kind of luckily, my friend, she returned home to Canada around the same time. So she was also doing, her mandatory quarantine. So yeah, we like Skyped like almost every morning and did like ab workouts together. So that was helpful. So for the first month, I didn't really try not to think about the virus or like my thesis, even my thesis. I just wanted to relax and, I don't know, fit in, because when I started to, write my thesis or like focus on something, I started like worrying about like Germany and when I'll be able to go back.
Yeah.
So I just tried to relax and try to distract myself. So I think that was my strategy, and now I can't postpone writing my thesis anymore. So my new strategy would be to focus on finishing this.
Okay. Yeah. Good luck with that. If that's okay for you, I would just ask you, maybe how has this crisis affected your relationship?
Well, I guess I'm kind of used to it, because like you said, I've been in a long distance relationship for a while now. But I guess only difference is we used to see each other every 3 to 5 months, and we would, I don't know, plan our next visit to each other after we say goodbye. But now we haven't seen each other for 6 months, and we can't even plan or know when we are going to meet up. So I guess that's the biggest difference. Like, I don't know, we were hoping to see each other again in July, but I don't think that's happening. And we just said we will be lucky if we get to see each other within this year. Yeah, so yeah, even though we were in a long distance relationship before, it was okay because we at least knew when we were going to see each other again, and it's also kind of fun planning our next visit.
Yeah.
And you get to talk about that and think about it. But now it's just waiting without knowing when all this would end. So I guess that's a bit different. But Netflix and Skype has been helping us a lot. We watch like movies or documentaries on Netflix together, and we Skype almost every day.
Yeah.
So,
is there anything else that you would like to add?
During this pandemic, we also saw a lot of good aspects of humanity and good deeds. Like, for instance, countries sending each other masks and other medical equipments, and we all like kind of saw videos of people lifting up each other's spirits with songs and music. But we also saw some negative aspects of humanity, like I mentioned before, racism. And I just wish we would move away from the latter and see more of like the former examples. And that due to this corona crisis, that we would have better strategies and also better coping mechanisms to a pandemic like this in the future.